We live in a world that is becoming more and more dangerous. We face nuclear war and many challenges like the climate. And we also have a world where there's much poverty and so forth. They are urgent issues that must be addressed immediately. And I would hope that the Trump administration that comes to power will recognize these issues because in order to resolve those problems and to mitigate any kind of crises, correspondence, communication is essential. Getting to understand the different perspectives that people have, concerns that specific nations have, the United States concerns, Chinese concerns. That's the first stepping stone of diplomacy and so forth. I have great trepidation about the Trump administration and what to expect based on his nominees. However, we have to have hope. So, Gramsci said pessimism of the intellect, optimism of the will. So we have to have optimism. There are sometimes countries around the world that wish to see more conflict because it serves their interests. But it doesn't serve the interests of most of the world. And it doesn't serve the interests of the United States, the people of the United States. And one would hope that there will be meetings and conferences and summits that will take place in the next 4 years that will contribute to more peace and a better understanding of both sides. But that starts with exchange. That starts with understanding that the other side is not the enemy. If you can engage in a way of exchange in an empathetic way, or at least putting yourself in the other person's shoes, I think people will start to recognize those issues. Since COVID-19, living standards in the United States have declined as a consequence of inflation and a consequence of a number of shortages and so forth. But to preface that, I would say that over the last 30 years or so, increasingly, the United States has depended on commodities from China. Hardworking Chinese people producing quality goods and commodities that are sold at market at very low cost. And I actually, if you want me to be honest, I see that almost as a form of exploitation of Chinese workers by the United States, because American workers are not going to produce the commodities as well or as efficiently as the very advanced Chinese economy can. Over the last decade or so, wages have gone up in this country, which is a very positive thing, but commodity prices in the United States have not gone up. And the reason is because of the incredible technology and efficiency that the Chinese people have and the Chinese government in producing goods in this country. And many companies and many products that we use in the United States, from cellular phones to automobiles, require Chinese parts or Chinese production. So the upshot of this is that if those tariffs are imposed, it's going to be a tax on U.S. workers. And I think it could even lead to a lot of instability in the United States, because it will raise the cost of living even more. And in fact, Trump got elected in this year, on November 5th, because he was taking the issue of cost of living and inflation as a major platform issue. And ironically, the policy that he's proposing will only increase it. So it's kind of like a tax that's imposed on American workers, and it's a way of punishing this country, which I think is really a childish policy that adults don't engage in. It's a very destructive policy in many ways. And the other thing is that this country has much to offer the United States. For instance, its electric vehicle production is highly advanced. Even the cars that Americans drive, many of them are produced here, the Tesla, for instance. The Biden administration has initiated this and encouraged the Europeans to go along with it. And it's only hurting American consumers. And also, another thing that hurts is the environment, because this country has the capacity to produce automobiles. And if we are going to be mitigating climate crisis, the more automobiles that are produced, electric automobiles, the cleaner the air will be. So there are many reasons that this hurts American consumers, but not just American consumers, consumers throughout the world. In the West, we have a lot of propaganda. It is everywhere. It is ubiquitous. That tells you China is a bad country. It is a country that is a threat to the United States. It's a threat to Western Europe. It's a threat to its neighbors, and so forth. They are interested in winning and seeing China lose, whereas China would like to see everyone win. The idea of common prosperity on a global level, China is seeking to advance, and the West is not. And I think that's a very important reason why the West and ordinary people, and even people who are intellectuals or people who are highly educated, have this distorted perspective. So, they read newspapers, even the most renowned newspapers give a false image of China. China poses no threat to the United States whatsoever, if based on the policies that it has pursued, not just the policies, the development of this country over the last 75 years never has been a threat to any country, and it's always sought peace. This country believes in the independence of other countries and their autonomy and their right to decide and choose what kinds of governments they want without interference whatsoever. It has also facilitated exchange and developed ports, railroads, highways, airports, and beyond. Of course, we can get into the specifics of it that have vastly improved the economies of these countries. Countries like Sri Lanka, and even in Greece, their port of Piraeus is COSCO controlled, but they've improved the port so dramatically that it's improved the Greek economy and trade. At one point, as we recall, and the country was having a serious economic crisis, and they're out of it. I would say that China has contributed to improving that. And they're doing that in many parts of the world. This government is very much interested in improving the lives not just of Chinese people, but also people throughout the world, and has been extremely successful in doing so. I mean, the alleviation of poverty, extreme poverty, major, not just in this country, like again, throughout the world, this country is the major contributor to alleviating poverty, and it's continuing to do so. If anybody cares to do the research and do the reading and so forth, they will find that China is a leading, the leading force internationally for development, for sustainability, and dealing with countries on an equal basis, as opposed to one country having dominance over other countries. The problem is that we need to correct these distortions, and the only way to resolve that problem is to meet people, to engage in exchange, to kind of go past the kinds of stereotypes that are formed by Westerners about China and about other countries around the world as well. So, amongst the issues that we have in common, humanity, if there's something that's in common, I would say alleviating global poverty is something that at least people in the West say they want to do. We have enormous issues related to global health care and the prevention of pandemics.